So I had a radar detector years ago, and then I ended up upgrading it, or so I thought, and I bought another radar detector. This was years ago, maybe 20 years ago, back when we had stores around here called Circuit City that used to sell electronics. So I've had the same radar detector for a long time, and you know, not too long ago I had a little run-in, so I started thinking, you know, maybe I should try one of these new radar detectors that's come out in recent years. You know, these new ones are really cool because you can update the firmware in them. The companies release updates for them every once in a while, and to be honest, they just work a lot better. So I started looking around, doing some research, and everywhere I turned, it seems like the Uniden R3 is the best one you can get for the money. I didn't want to spend $600 or $700 on a radar detector. Not going to do that. But this Uniden R3 right here seems to be, from all the reviews online, the best one you can get for the money. And to be honest, I got this at a really good price because this particular one was factory recertified. So when I opened it out of the box, it looked brand new. I mean, there was no scratches, no wear on it. It looked like a brand new one. And it comes with a warranty, but I didn't pay the full price for it. I got like $75 off the list price. So really good deal. But I want to show you this and just talk about it just for a minute, how it's been working out here lately. All right, so the Mustang is still in the body shop. I might do a little video on that here in the coming days, but long story short, I got T-boned in the Mustang 2 months ago, and the body shop still has the car. So normally this is going to live in the Mustang where I need it because, to be completely honest, I drive this truck like an old man. Diesel fuel is expensive. This thing likes to drink it, so I don't ever drive this truck fast. So I don't really need a radar detector in here. But since the car is in the shop, I decided to put it in here so I could see how it works. So I'm going to turn it on here and let this thing boot up.
X-band, K-band, Ka-band, laser.
So this does have GPS, and it's kind of cool because since it has GPS, it'll tell you things like your elevation, where you're currently sitting. You can have this show you your GPS speed, which is pretty handy. There's a couple other things you can set this to do. And so that's pretty cool that it's got that display on there. The menu on these, I'm not going to do an extensive video review here, but I just want to show you real quick. The menu on these is super simple.
Menu.
You just press that button and you can go through it that direction, or you can go through that direction to go backwards. And there's lots of different things you can do in here. What I like about this one versus the old ones is that you can turn off the X band, you can turn off the K band. You know, if you live in an area where you just get nothing but false alarms on those particular bands, you can turn those off in here. Whereas the older radar detectors I used to buy, you couldn't do that. You know, they might have a city mode on them that turned down the sensitivity, but you couldn't really turn off bands. So that's pretty handy on here. Now, anyway, what I want to spend time talking about is how this thing has been performing. And let me tell you, this thing is everything it's cracked up to be. So if I'm going down the road, right, of course I'm sitting in my driveway right now, but there's one particular spot on my way home from work in the afternoons where try to visualize this. You're going up a hill. It's a 4-lane highway. You're going up a hill. And then when you get to the top of the hill, you crest over and you go back down into a flat area, right? So there's a police officer that loves to sit over the crest of that hill in the median. So that way when people are coming up that hill, as soon as they come over the hill, bam, he gets you. There's no way to see him unless you're Superman and you've got X-ray vision, because you can't see through the mountainside. So by the time you pop up over that hill and you see him, it's too late, which obviously is the reason why he sits there. Well, this radar detector right here will alert on Ka band like 1.5 miles before I get to that guy. I mean, as I'm going up the hill, this thing is alerting. I don't know how it does that. I honestly don't know how it does that. It's amazing. And then when I pop over the hill, bam, he's sitting there. By then, I've had plenty of time to slow down, which is awesome. On a straight stretch where you can see as far as you can see, this thing will alert before you can see the officer with your naked eye. So however far you can see, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever it is, you know, when the police officer is so far out that you literally can't even see him, this thing will start going off and alerting on Ka band. So the performance on this is fantastic. Now, as far as the filters go, you know, a lot of these new vehicles today have like blind spot monitoring and different features like that. And so they have onboard radar in the tail lights. And those can set off these radar detectors and you get a lot of false alerts. Well, this has filtering built into it where it's supposed to filter out those false alerts. And what I have found is it doesn't work all that great. It is better than my older radar detector, but I do still get quite a few false alerts on this. If you're wondering, as soon as I took this out of the box, the first thing I did was hook it up to the laptop and download the latest firmware. So this thing is updated as of April 2024, but I still get quite a few false alerts on this. Like I said, it's better than my old radar detector, which would go off all the time. So it does work. The filtering does work, but it doesn't work as well as I expected. So that's kind of a drawback. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Compared to the radar detectors I've had before, it's a great thing, but perhaps there are some radar detectors out there that are a little better at filtering out those false K-band and X-band signals. I think I'm just going to go ahead and turn the X-band off because really where I live, the only thing that sets those off is like garage door openers and, you know, the storefront door openers and things like that. So might as well go ahead and just turn that off. And but I'll leave the K and the Ka bands on. Anyway, the performance on this, when it comes to actually seeing police officers at a distance, is fantastic. And it doesn't matter if you're going up a hill, around a curve, you know, if there's terrain between you and the officer or whatever, it doesn't seem to matter. This thing just does a fantastic job of alerting anyway. So, you know, I feel like, you know, for the price, if you get one of these for, say, a couple $100, the very first time that it keeps you from having to pay a ticket, it's already paid for itself, obviously. So it's a fantastic investment, I think. And like I said, the cool thing about it is you can update it over time. Now, as far as performance behind the vehicle, you know, you got this little, what they call eagle eye up here. That's supposed to alert you to radar that's behind you or maybe to the side of you. That seems to work really well too. And the way that I can tell that is if I see an officer and this thing is alerting, after I pass the officer and the officer's obviously then behind me, this thing will continue to alert just as strong for about a mile. And then once I'm like beyond a mile from the officer, then it starts to slow down. It's alerting and back off a little bit. But like I said, with the officer behind me, it still alerts just the same as it would if the officer was up the road like that. So what that tells me is if I had an officer coming up from behind me quickly, this thing would give you some really advanced notice in that situation too. So like I said, just a fantastic unit for a couple $100 on Amazon for one of these factory certified ones. You know, I don't feel like you can beat it. It really does work great. Can't say enough good things about it. I guess if I had one complaint about it so far, it's this. When I go into the menu, and let's say, you know, you got a lot of different menu items in here. So let's say you're scrolling through here and you see one and you want to think about it for just a second. You're trying to remember, okay, what exactly does this setting do? And you want to decide, you know, think about it here for 5 seconds. Do I want to leave that on? Well, it doesn't give you time to do that. Did you see that? It doesn't give you much time to think. As soon as you hit that menu button, you got to go through, you got to find what you want to change and change it real quick because it will exit the menu on its own very rapidly. Watch this.
Exit.
See that? I mean, it was in there for just a few seconds. Doesn't give you much time at all to really think about the setting that you're currently at. I don't like that. I wish they would give you more time. I mean, I kind of understand that they want it to time out so it's not sitting there stuck in the menu mode if you forget to turn it off, but they should give you more time to think about it, because there's probably 30 or 35 different settings that you can change going through here. So anyway, that's maybe a minor thing, but that kind of annoys me. I wish they would update that with the next firmware release. But I mean, if that's the only thing you got to complain about, then you're doing pretty good, right? So long story short, if you're looking for a radar detector that works really, really well, it's going to give you great protection, but you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, this one right here fits the bill. The Uniden R3. I know it's been out for several years, but it's still a fantastic unit. I'm super happy with it. If you got any questions, drop them below. We'll talk to you later.